Hello, I'm going to do the second little video in a series about work that I have on hand. This one is it's one that I made in 2020, and it started out, I had the idea of doing the Statue of Liberty. I had been thinking a lot about our nation's motto, which is E pluribus unum, and that means out of many, one, and about how I feel like the Statue of Liberty is a really perfect symbol for that message. And so I started just by, I knew kind of that I wanted to put something behind it, but I didn't really know where it was going when I started it. But I went ahead and did the work on clear glass, knowing something would go behind it. And so it's on clear glass, and then I used clear textured glass, and you can see more as I get sideways how there are different textures. Some of it is opalescent and iridescent, and some of it is just clear. And so I use glass from, whenever I do these really photorealistic works, I take the glass from my scrap piles, and so I have lots of little pieces that I get to start with, and that works really well for me in my process. And so it's a way for me to use up all that scrap. So the Statue of Liberty herself is made out of all those scraps, trying to follow the lights and darks, using hue and value to create the hills and valleys kind of her robes. And then the base is more flat and a little more monochromatic to kind of represent the concrete base. And of course, the flame is this sort of eye-popping, bright flame color, representing that that light, that beacon of light. And so once I got the top part done, it came to me that what I wanted to do was more of a historical collage of our nation's immigration. So it actually down here is a lot harder to see unless you get up close, but this is from an old map of the northern continent of the Americas before colonization. So there are names of native tribes in there. And then above that, I started with European immigration images, and then Asian immigration, the people who came here to build our infrastructure, our railroads, and then more, there are immigrants from all kinds of areas of Europe, Italian and Irish, that I pulled from archival photos, and more, you can see here, more Asian. I think these are actually people building railroads. And then as I come up higher, it starts to get more contemporary. Some of our current issues and the things we think about now are the wall on our border. I've got pictures from the people who are waiting at the border, people who are fleeing, being the I'm kind of drawing a blank on like all the names and places, but there were people who had to flee from being tear gassed and having rubber bullets shot at them, who were hoping for asylum. And then also the people who are contributing, people who come here because they help us get our food, and they work our fields and make it so that we all have food on our tables. So that is the story of this piece. I'm trying to remember the height. I feel like it's about 2 feet. Here's my hand for scale. And I should have looked up the measurements before I started talking, but I didn't.